Alright, hello friends. Today we are going to read a bit of biology that has been left for NTSC. I'm going to be digging up a topic from 9th standard about classification, brief you about the important questions which come from this concept, and try to cover up the maximum what we can in this one small video for you. In classification, we need to understand that chapter deals with diversity in living organisms. Diversity means different type of living organisms which exist. And what do we want to do for these different type of living organisms? We want to study them. Just like we study different type of chemicals, we need to study different type of living organisms. And as we study different type of chemicals, we group them into a periodic table. Likewise, when we study different type of living organisms, we group them into a system, which is not called periodic table but is known as classification. And to do so, we need to know certain properties. Like when we group elements, we need to know their electronegative, electropositive, size, and affinity, electron affinity, all other properties. Likewise, we have to know about certain properties of organisms on the basis of which you can group together the similar ones, and dissimilar ones are put into a different group. And this process of identification of these properties is also a very important part of grouping these organisms, plus giving them a good name. So we say when I study different type of living organisms, I have to take care of three important aspects to study all of them. One, I should be able to give them an identity, some features on the basis of which I can group them together. I need to give them a name, and I need to give them a position, like a position in the periodic table. And the science that deals with the principles of all the three, how you are going to identify, what features to include, how you are going to name, how you are going to group, that science is known as taxonomy. And we say, what is the unit of taxonomy? A taxon. Anything, be it a bigger group or a smaller group, be it a single individual, everything is known as a taxon. It's the unit of taxonomy. Rose is a taxon. Rose family is a taxon. Plant kingdom is a taxon. Smallest to largest, every unit, single, group or individual will be known as a taxon. You can call anything. And along with taxonomy, we might study evolutionary history to take a look at the past, from where did these organisms arise, who were their fathers, forefathers. And the study of evolutionary history is known as phylogeny, which is star question mark. A question comes, when you classify organisms on the basis of evolutionary history, what type of classification is it known as? We say it is called phylogenetic system of classification. Right? Also, once we are through with what are their fathers, what are their forefathers, we also must have an idea what role do they play in our ecosystem. We call it the ecological role. Are they producers? Are they consumers? Are they decomposers? On the basis of that, we also try to group them together. And when we consider, besides taxonomy, other characters also, we include that science as a bigger or a broader science. And this bigger and a broader science of studying diversity of living organisms, including taxonomy, evolutionary history, and ecological role, that helps us to study different type of living organisms, is known as systematics. And who's the father of systematics? Carolus Linnaeus. Father of systematics, Carolus Linnaeus. Clear, my dear? One thing. Then we say that when I have to do classification and I'm grouping the organisms together, I must know ki what are the groups in which I'm going to give them an identity. Like if I give an identity to a student of a school, I will say this is a student of 6 years old, class 1, section A, house this. So it has got certain identifying criteria, categories which I provide. The category of a class, category of the age, category of the section, category of the house. Likewise, there are different categories in which we group organisms, and these categories are known as taxonomic categories, which are 7 in number. Again, the hierarchy of taxonomic categories was given by Carolus Linnaeus. Where we say that we start with the highest group, kingdom, like a school. Then we have phylum or division, class, order, family, and the last two, genus and species. These two have a significance that they both are used in naming of the organism. हम बोलते हैं kingdom, phylum, class, kingdom plantae. तो मैं ये नहीं बोलूँगी कि plant का नाम kingdom plantae से पड़ा. जो plant का नाम है ना वो kingdom के नाम से पड़ेगा, ना class के नाम से पड़ेगा, ना family के नाम से पड़ेगा, वो उसके genus और species के नाम से एक scientific name बनता है. तो हम बोलते हैं कि when I have a hierarchy starting from the largest group to the smallest group, who all are used for naming genus and species. And on the basis of this hierarchy, we have many types of classifications. How many kingdoms I can have? I could have had 2 kingdoms, 3 kingdoms, 4 kingdoms, 5 kingdoms. So what is the difference in this classification? 2 kingdom included only 2 type of organisms, either plants or animals, which were multicellular. According to them, all organisms were multicellular initially. But then they realized that there are some small organisms also when they could study deeper by good optical aids, इलेक्ट्रॉन माइक्रोस्कोप भी आ गया, आप और डिटेल स्टडी कर पाए तो हम और ज्यादा अच्छे से क्लासिफिकेशन भी कर पाए. 2 किंगडम हमारे पास कैरोलस लिनियस ने दी थी और उसमें 2 ही किंगडम थे, प्लांट, एनिमल. जो ग्रीन थे अपना खाना खुद बनाते थे वो प्लांट, जो औरों पे डिपेंडेंट थे वो एनिमल, और सारे मल्टी सेलुलर. ठीक. Then 3 kingdom was given by Copeland, Ernest Haeckel. He said, नहीं, हमारे पास सिंगल सेल ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी होते हैं, सिर्फ प्लांट और एनिमल नहीं होते. तो वो सिंगल सेल ऑर्गेनिजम्स उसने प्रोटिस्टा में रखे कि प्रोटिस्टा इज अ ग्रुप इन विच आई विल हैव सिंगल सेल्ड ऑर्गेनिजम्स, नॉट मल्टी सेलुलर, unicellular organisms. And rest plant and animals are classified the same way. The ones which are green multicellular are plants, the ones which are dependent upon others are animals. Then came the 4 kingdom classification which was given by Copeland. He said that even if I have unicellular organisms, they can be of 2 types depending upon the cell they have. Either it is unicellular prokaryotic or it is unicellular eukaryotic. And this unicellular prokaryotic kingdom was known as the only prokaryotic kingdom that we have out of the 5 kingdoms ultimately is Monera, my dear, which includes bacteria. Then unicellular eukaryotic protista like paramecium, amoeba, and plants and animals. Ultimately, looking at all the features of classification, जब हम बहुत सारे features consider करते बेटा, that classification is known as natural system of classification. बहुत सारे जब characters हम study करते हैं, morphology, anatomy, cytology, physiology, biochemistry, when I study so many identifying features and I classify organisms, which was given by R.H. Whitaker, again a very important question, who gave 5 kingdom classification, and which kingdom did he introduce? He introduced the kingdom of fungi, which he said were different from plants, animals and unicellular. We had one group of unicellular fungi, yeast, but rest all were multicellular, eukaryotic and decomposers. They were neither consumers, they were neither producers, but they were the decomposers, hence they were given a different kind of a kingdom called kingdom fungi. We need to briefly know about classification of each. How are plants classified, how are animals classified, how are Monera classified, how are Protista classified. Let's quickly take a look at it and what type of questions come from it. When we discuss kingdom Monera, we say Monera includes unicellular, very, very important, prokaryotic organisms, which are none other than bacteria and organisms like bacteria. You should know what are the different groups of bacteria. I'm just going to enumerate the groups. We all know the characters of a prokaryotic cell. It has a nucleide, it doesn't have any cell organelle, it is a primitive type of cell, they are unicellular and they have inclusion bodies. Their metabolism is very primitive. They can be of the group of mycoplasma without cell wall. Question aa jata hai. They are the jokers, the smallest bacteria, the smallest cell, PPLO. Then they are archaebacteria, which are resistant to different environments. बहुत acidic होगा तो भी जिंदा रह जाएंगे, बहुत हाई टेम्परेचर्स होगा तो भी जिंदा रह जाएंगे, एनारोबिक होगा तो भी जिंदा रह जाएंगे. तो आर्कीबैक्टीरिया पे क्वेश्चन आता है, दे आर एनारोबिक बिकॉज वो रिड्यूसिंग एटमॉस्फेयर में थे, तब ऑक्सीजन था ही नहीं. एंड उसमें से सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आता है मीथेनोजेंस, कि वो एनारोबिक मीडियम में मीथेन बना सकते हैं, CH4 गैस बना सकते हैं, जो हमें नेचुरल गैस बनाने में हेल्प करता है. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आर्कीबैक्टीरिया. देन you have eubacteria, which is your true bacteria, like your streptococcus, like your staphylococcus, like your bacillus, like your pseudomonas. These are all your eubacteria with the typical structure of a bacteria. You have actinomycetes, a prokaryotic cell with a fungal स्ट्रक्चर. इनको हम रे फंजाई भी बोलते हैं. क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि व्हाट इज द सेल वॉल मटेरियल ऑफ एक्टिनोमाइसिटीज. बैक्टीरियल सेल वॉल कंटेन्स पेप्टिडोग्लाइकेन के अलावा माइकोलिक एसिड ऑल्सो. आना चाहिए, NTSC स्टेज 2 में क्वेश्चन आ जाता है. देन साइनोबैक्टीरिया. मस्ट नो व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ cyanobacteria which are nitrogen fixing. Nostoc, Anabina. Anabina is associated with an Azolla fern, a plant ठीक. Besides them, we have another group of organisms called Rickettsia Chlamydia. Rickettsia cause typhus fever, spotty mountain fever. Chlamydia cause reproductive disorders. So these are all our different type of Monera. आना चाहिए कि अगर कोई भी ऑर्गेनिज्म ऐसा आता है, स्ट्रेप्टोमाइसीज है, इट्स एन एक्टिनोमाइसिटीज, ठीक है, रिकेट्सिया, क्लमाइडिया, दीज आर ऑल प्रोकैरियोटिक, इनका स्ट्रक्चर प्रोकैरियोटिक होगा. तो इफ देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द सेल स्ट्रक्चर, फंक्शनिंग और द बायोमोलिक्यूल्स इन द सेल वॉल, यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर देम. ठीक. Then we have the next kingdom which we talk about, kingdom Protista, which contains unicellular eukaryotic organisms. आपको आइडिया रहना चाहिए कि उसके अंदर हर तरीके का ऑर्गेनिज्म है, जिसका मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन ऑटोट्रॉफिक भी है, जिसका मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन हेटेरोट्रॉफिक भी है, मिक्सोट्रॉफिक भी है. We say kingdom Protista. They are unicellular and again most importantly eukaryotic. They have a double membrane system inside the cell with all the cell organelles, and since they have all the cell organelles, they can be aerobic also and they can perform different metabolic functions also. What kind of metabolism do they show? Nutrition do they show? They can be autotrophic, they can be mixotrophic, autotrophic and heterotrophic. They could be saprotrophic or they could be completely heterotrophic, parasitic or holozoic or symbiotic. And on that basis we have 5 groups which we consider. Autotrophic, I have 2. Diatoms, which we also call chrysophytes because of their golden color and plant-like autotrophic nutrition, we call them phytes. And we have dinoflagellates. They have 2 flagella in one single cell, such that one flagella is circular, the other flagella is perpendicular. One is a girdling flagella, one is a longitudinal flagella. We call them dinoflagellates. One is very important, जिसको हम बोलते हैं Goniolax. It gives light. We also call it fire alga, and it causes paralytic shellfish poisoning. We call it PSP, paralytic shellfish poisoning. Mixotrophic, the ones which have both the nutritions. In the day they are autotrophic, in the night they are heterotrophic. Such type is known as mixotrophic, which is shown by euglenoids. Then saprotrophic, we have a fungi-like unicellular eukaryotic organisms called slime molds. And heterotrophic are known as the primitive animals called protozoa, which are further classified into 4 groups on the basis of their locomotory structure. That if they form pseudopodia, they are rhizopods. If they have cilia, they are ciliates. If they have flagella, they are zooflagellates. And if they have no locomotory structure, then they are sporozoans. Like plasmodium. बहुत क्वेश्चन आता है प्लाज्मोडियम के ऊपर. कौन सा डिजीज स्प्रेड करता है? मलेरिया. किसके थ्रू स्प्रेड करता है? फीमेल एनोफिलीज मॉस्किटो. किस में स्प्रेड करता है? ह्यूमंस. क्या उसके सिम्टम्स है? वॉमिटिंग, चिल्स, फीवर्स एंड अनीमिया. देन हु is responsible for causing malaria is the causative parasite. We call it Plasmodium, which is a sporozoan which reproduces by multiple fission. आना चाहिए. Rhizopoda may we consider amoeba, ciliates may we consider paramecium, zooflagellates may we consider leishmania, trypanosoma, giardia. These are all our living organisms. पैरामीशियम में 2 न्यूक्लियस होते हैं. इस पे क्वेश्चन आता है, 1 small 1 large. Small is for reproduction, large is for nutrition. Please copy that. Zooflagellates में you should know about trypanosoma causes African sleeping sickness. Leishmania causes Kala Azar and their vector. We are going to read them again in human health chapter. Lastly, before the bigger kingdoms, plant and animal, we have a smaller kingdom called fungi. In this particular recording, we are going to be dealing only with these first 3 kingdoms. I am going to take plant and animal separately for you. Fungi, they say they are maybe unicellular, maybe multicellular. We have one group of unicellular fungi. That group is called yeast. And multicellular fungi are also there, right? And now these fungi are eukaryotic. Their mode of nutrition is saprotrophic. Plus, my dear, these fungi are heterotrophic in their mode of nutrition such that they are the major decomposers of the ecosystem. Again, a very important question. Who are the major decomposers? We have bacteria and fungi. Major decomposers of ecosystem are fungi. You should know that their body is called mycelium, which is made up of thread-like structures called hyphae, which can have divisions between them, which cannot have. That means they may have a septum, they may not. So we call them aseptate or septate. The ones which have septum are advanced, the ones which do not have septum are non-advanced. So we call them the primitive fungi and the modern fungi. See? Besides that, we have groups or classification of fungi. You should know in the list the names. The ones which are aseptate are known as Phycomycetes. The ones which are septate are further classified into 3. We call them Ascomycetes, जिसमें आपका एस्परजिलस और पेनिसिलिन आता है. बसीडियोमाइसिटीज जिसमें मशरूम आता है. एंड ड्यूटेरोमाइसिटीज जिनको हम फंजाई इम्परफेक्टाई भी बोलते हैं कि ये फंगस तो है बट ऐसे तरीके का फंगस है कि इम्परफेक्ट फंगस है, ये सेक्सुअली रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं करता. तो ये डू नॉट रिप्रोड्यूस सेक्सुअली. Which ones? Deuteromycetes. बाकी सब sexual reproduction भी show करते हैं. These are the septate fungi. 3. Phycomycetes in aseptate fungi. पुराने टाइप के प्लांट जैसे फंजाई ज्यादातर पानी में रहते हैं. And we have different fungal disorders also which are caused by fungi in different plants and animals. जिसका एक significance है that you should know. Also, we have certain importances of fungi besides their decomposition. They can be used for production of antibiotics. They can also be used for production of biogas. And we should know that they are important to our ecosystem. So we should know their classification, we should know their body, we should know their mode of nutrition. right? I'm going to halt it for a minute so that if you want you can copy it, and we're going to reading about plants and animals in the second set of recordings for you. Alright, till then take care, thank you, bye bye.